right, all right, all right. It is now officially that time. ¿Y qué es lo que estamos hablando? It's officially that time. Red Cup Thursdays, guys. Freddie Buys here, your favorite lender, coming at you as I come every single Thursday with my peoples del corazón. Pouring back into you guys, just giving you a little bit of value, chatting a little bit about what's going on in our industry. But overall, the whole point is growth, right? And chatting about how we can all grow together. So I want to introduce you guys to una persona bien querida mía. I like to call her G. You guys can read her name there, Giselle. But I'm going to call her G throughout the show. G is someone that is very inspiring to me. Someone that is passionate about what she does and plays at a high level across the board. So I'm gonna start. We'll do the starting from the bottom now, and we'll give her the opportunity to go ahead and tell us a little bit about it. So starting from the bottom, G, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me a little bit. Obviously, the concept of starting from the bottom is there's a story, right? Because from the part of the story that I know, you weren't born into the best, right? We weren't the children of the king, right? We have gone through a journey. Tell me a little bit about that and how you've gotten here today and seen the different successes that you've seen.
Well, you know I love you, but I'm gonna correct you on that. I am the daughter
of the king. I knew that. When I said that, I was like, damn, she's gonna say that. But
yeah. And because I am the daughter of a king, we have to start from the bottom and get here, because that's exactly what he says. Nothing on your own so that you can't boast about your own. So, number one, thank you for having me. I love you. I think the same of you. You have this work ethic and this work quality that not necessarily I have to sit next to you Monday through Friday or 9 to 5 to see it. I've seen you as a husband and as a father, and that's enough for me. So thanks for having me. And number two, I actually, it's funny because I hear actors talk about that. I hear artists talk about, I kind of stumbled into real estate. I want to say on a fluke, but now looking back, I've been doing it for 20 years. I know it was definitely God incidents. And I was buying this house that I'm actually in when I was 21. And the builder said, kind of looked at me because I was asking really dumb questions. And he kind of was like, sweetie, how many houses have you bought? I'm like, it's my first one. Like, real happy. Like, I'm just buying a pair of shoes, right? And he's like, you know, I really think you need to hire an attorney to read this contract through. This is a big commitment, and you seem kind of young. So I called an attorney. I had just moved back to South Florida. I used to live in LA. And I called an attorney. And when she told me it was $600, I mean, you know, I don't know anything about attorneys and real estate. So I thought that's what it was going to cost. But then I'm driving down Pines. And on University, there's a big billboard that says, take your real estate license, learn how to read, write contracts, blah, 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 $399.
Nice.
So, hello, I'm a business girl.
Let's go.
I was like, wait a minute, $300 less. I get the license. And so I signed up. And when I was taking the class, the guy was like, you're it. And that's how I started.
Nice. That's good. So it was a situation where you just found yourself with the opportunity, kind of came across. As a matter of fact, you're amazing. Tenemos una panita that actually came and said, Aniel Lugo, by the way, quick shout out to you, pana también de nosotros del alma. Eso se encendió, estamos encendidos. Yes. We're going to make it happen
My
today.
cup ain't red, but it's got stuff that's red inside. Does that count?
That counts. What? I mean, mine has chinola inside with something else. It's a good time. Cuéntame de ti. What are you having in that cup?
A little red wine.
A little red wine. That's good. Una vaina fina. Para los jueves. Con todas las heces. Una vaina bien. Good. Awesome. So, as you mentioned, you know what? You find yourself in the game now. It's been some time,
Just
right?
No Insta. George came to report.
Yeah, I got to check that out. It's the first time that we're.
Oh, he says he can't see us.
Okay. Can he see that we're live, or I mean, he can't see us, but does it show as live?
The live, but he can't see us.
Okay, está bien. Entonces I'll double check that because it is the first time we're trying to run on live on Insta también. He says he sees your chair.
Just the chair.
Gangster. I love that. That's that's really good. That's going to be an interesting live. Yeah. How about I shut that feed off? Good. Awesome. So you find yourself in the game for some time. You're a veteran, right? But you've dabbled more from what I've seen, from what you've expressed too, in the luxury market,
I did.
right? We obviously we know the relationships that you have and stuff, and that you're uber connected when it comes to that space. But tell me a little bit about surviving that market recently, though, because obviously in the last 2 years, there's been a lot of surprises, especially in the last 6 months. Things have been different, right? So tell me a little bit about that. What have you done to keep yourself in front of people so that you can still see the successes that you see today?
Yeah, so I kind of learned, you know how they say you learn through experiences in 2008, and you know this, that big bubble burst.
Yeah,
And I was in the luxury market, and I haven't felt the sting that bad now. It's actually a little interesting because anything from, believe me when I tell you it's weird, anything from like 4.5 to even 12 has been selling like this.
yeah,
But then there's that 800 to 1.2 that's a little stagnant, not doing much. And then anything from 2 to 3 has activity. I have definitely, as a matter of fact, I'm working with a client now who also happens to be a professional athlete. And we were taking our time. I know you know that a lot of things have changed in baseball. So it's not like he can come play in town, leave his hotel room and come meet me to see houses. It's completely forbidden. So everything we've been doing it via, Instagram, FaceTime and stuff like that. And so I told him, take your time whenever you come back. And then the realtor called me and he was like, don't take your time. I've got like 3 people coming. So there's
wow,
activity there. But back in 2008, there was none. It was
yeah.
zero. Nothing. And ay, Dios mío, gracias.
Wow.
So what I had to do then was I needed to figure out a way to reinvent myself to stay current. And that's when I decided to open up like a boutique concierge service,
Yeah,
so that I wasn't doing multi-million-dollar deals, but I was current. I was helping, making some kind of an income, which at the end of the day is what we all need. And it kept me current. So my clients are mostly seasonal. So if they were gone, I tended to their vehicles. If they came, I already had a whole profile of them. I knew what cereal their kid liked. I knew exactly the type of water she didn't like. So I would stock their fridge. So it started to become a business on its own, word of mouth. And so that actually is what kept me afloat until things came back. So I was still, you know what I used to call it back then? I used to tell people I'm kind of like the Starbucks that's inside Barnes and Nobles.
yeah,
You get that 2-in-1. You're not always buying a
yeah.
book, but you want to come in and chill and read. That was kind of like what I would do for you. I was your realtor, but at the same time, nobody was buying or selling, and a way to keep me in their face whenever things were going to change was, let me give you service. And I've been really good at that. I started service since I was 16 years old in New York City, bussing tables. So I
Nice.
know service good.
Nice. So you know what's funny? Because a lot of the people that watch us on this, and by the way, this is something that's going to be replaying for about 2 weeks, and we get a ton of views, thank God. Um, but all I heard there, honestly, was relationships, right? I heard the details, right? The specifics, uh, but it was all about relationships and how you treated people. Whether, for example, we know that you, when it comes to, like, for example, Major League Baseball, you're one of the biggest connections when it comes to that in the real estate game. But they all put on their pants the same way that we do, right? And they're all looking for people to treat them and to build relationships completely past whatever they do for a living. And I know personally, and I can vouch for you, reason being, we've been in the same circle in that space, and I've seen the way that those relationships are built, and they're relationships. They're not in, that's the first layer. You just so happen to also be in real estate.
Correct.
So actually, it's funny because my better half just sent that little message. I want to put that on the screen because for those of you that are in business, whether you're in real estate or in any other kind of a space, it's very important for you guys to understand this piece, which is people never forget how you make them feel, right? And when I had my coaching clients and inside of the organization that I was in, one of the big quotes was, "Logic makes you think, but emotion makes you act." Right? So being connected to that emotion, because at the end of the day, we're people, right? And we want to get those things done. Now, one thing that I want to highlight is something that we spoke a little bit about when before we started the
You know,
show,
it's
but
crazy.
we've
I don't want to interrupt you,
no, go
but
ahead.
I have every permission to use their name. They're a wonderful couple. You said something that if people in this industry are watching, if you're, I've gotten a lot of calls lately of people saying, "Hey, I want to get into it. Can I pick your brain?" Listen, I remember when I wanted to get in, I would have done anything. I would have done your groceries. I would have washed your car just to ask you questions. So
Yep.
I'm the kind of person that no matter where I am, I never forget where I came from. So I give my time to appraisals. They call me for listings and stuff that sold 5 years ago. And they're so scared to ask when they call. They're like, please, please. I'm like, oh, relax. I got you. I got time for you. Just like that. Carlos Beltran and Jessica Beltran. Carlos Beltran played for the New York Yankees and he won with the Astros 2 years, I think, or 3 years ago. They came to South Florida, referred to me by Albert Pujols and another, and their financial advisor as well. And they came to South Florida with a budget of $8 million. And they came with the intention to go look in Coral Gables. After spending a whole day with them in the Gables, because again, you also have to have that people person that you can read people. I realized they don't really need to be in the Gables. They're not from here. They don't know what they're looking for. So before ending the day with him, he just happened to be, like I said, playing in town that day and said, perfect, on my day off, I'll go look and then I fly back. And I said, do you guys mind coming to look at this listing in Weston? They're like, what's Weston? I'm like, I really think you belong there. And that listing was $3.8 million. Nowhere near the $8 million budget that they had. And I sold them that house. After they went, they were like, oh, this is what we wanted. But the thing is, I didn't do it with the intention of like, oh, this is where you told me you wanted to be and this is your budget. No, I came in on it like, this is so wrong. It didn't feel right for them. Let me show you this. And then later, people were mad at me. Like, you could have made so much more money. Why would you do that? And I go, because it wasn't right. But can I tell you something? One of the most wonderful families have invited me and my husband to events, took us to their restaurant in New York, let us stay with them at their penthouse. And I started to think, like, why are they being like this with me? Like, I really haven't had that much roce con ello.
Yeah.
And she answered that for me. And she said, I enjoyed what you did for us and I saw where you were coming from. So from now on, you have a client with me for life. And not that it's going to happen. I mean, I'm going to put out there. You never know quién lo está viendo. Pero ella es íntima amiga de Jennifer Lopez.
Exacto.
So ella va a la casa de ella cada rato. Maybe tal vez ella le diga, yo tengo una amiguita que vende casa.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what I meant to say about when you do it with that heart that you're talking about, you would do it for life because karma is karma.
100%.
Can't beat that one. Okay, so what were you telling me?
No, I mean, you hit it right in the head. That's the whole point. What I wanted to get out, because again, it's no secret that I'm in the lending business, right? And like now, it's no secret that you're in the luxury market. The reality is that across my desk comes a lot of newer individuals that may come into the market, and they hear about me, whether it's through the show or through someone else, and they're always asking, hey, how can I get from here to here? And I, first of all, it's always a journey, right? There's no such thing as overnight success. Yes, tú te puedes pegar, pero just as fast as tú te despegas, right? So relationships, being consistent, being true to yourself, right? Which is something that I can say, G, you do at a high level, Now, it's one thing of what you currently do and how you go ahead and you reap that harvest is another thing of what you do with the harvest, right?
Yes.
And I want to talk a little bit about how you currently make a difference with the Ministry of Giving. Tell me a little bit more about that, because that's something you're very passionate about, and it's moving for me. Let's break that down. Tell me what it looks like.
So Ministry of Giving is exactly that. It's just a vehicle of something that I've had in my heart since I was a little girl. I am from the Dominican Republic. I was born there. I turned 6 years old here in South Florida. And, my dad lived there. He was a businessman there. So I grew up going back and forth. But whether or not I had gone or not gone, I remember leaving. Like, I remember getting on the plane and feeling something telling me you're coming back, but just like that, to help. So I kind of never forgot that. It's weird. It's very weird. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I have that connection with Oprah because she said when her grandmother told her, Oprah Gail, come over here and learn how to wash these sheets for this white family that you're going to have to work for. She goes, I was 6 years old. I was sitting in Mississippi playing with dirt when I heard a voice that told me, look at your grandmother because you're an obedient little girl, but you'll never have to wash one sheet. It's almost like that feeling that you heard something. So I guess I carried it in me. And as soon as I saw the opportunity, actually, I never really had the money to start the ministry. It was just an opportunity where I said, I have success. I have 2 wonderful kids. I have a great devoted husband. I'm healthy. What am I so miserable about? Like, I felt something in me was empty. And then it hit me. I always go to God, and then it hit me. God's like, I've given you this much. I'm ready to give you more, but you have to do something with it. And so I remember I literally told George, which is my husband, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done a mission trip before in my life, but I'm leaving next month. That's exactly how it went down. And he said to me, what are you bringing? I go, I don't know. I'm just going to start asking people for donations. And that's when it hit me that God doesn't wait for you to see it all together to then say, oh, it's all in place. I got this guy doing this. I got this guy. Now let me step into it. No, he told the farmer, plant the seed and pray for the rain. But you got to show that part. So it was instantaneously, Freddie. As soon as I stepped out in faith, I had 2 garages filled, mine and a best friend. I went out and I did this mission trip, and my life was changed forever. I encourage anybody, it doesn't matter if it's mine or if you're from Guatemala and you want to go help, I encourage you, sign up for 1 mission trip in your life and it'll never be the same. You realize there's so much, and we know there's so much more. I'm Dominican, for God's sake. I had never seen what I saw. Like, this is 5-star resort right here in Punta Cana. It's called Mata Mosquito, un bate. Literally, amazing. Mata Mosquito, just like that. 5-star resort with maybe a 15-foot wall. But if you look over that wall, I saw a baby on a mattress on the floor that had maggots. My dog sleeps better than that. And I broke down and I thought to myself, what world have I been living in? I've stayed in this resort. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that you can't enjoy a nice piece of steak because people are starving. No, enjoy it. You worked for it. But it's also, if you happen to see someone starving, give them a hand. You know what I mean? Like, help them. And so as soon as I exposed myself to it, I thought, I'm going to do this. And everybody told me, you're never going to get a 501(c)(3). The IRS is not going to give it to you. You know, people who are super established, it takes them years. And I said, you know what, God, if this is what you want me to do, you open the doors for me. And I got my 501(c) in 3 months.
Boom.
And then Dan Marino said, how can I help? Ty Dempsey, NFL player, how can I help? Hanley Ramirez, Manny Ramirez, the Pujols, anybody that you can think of that was like, how can we help, was right there, even to this day. So it's all a matter of stepping out and just doing it. And let me tell you, it is so true, Freddie, that what you get from giving is so much better than receiving.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So much better. So much better.
100%. No, I'm with you. Changing the way you look at things so that the things can look at change is a big thing, especially today. When you were speaking, I asked myself, you know what, are you living to work or are you working to live? Right? Because what is living? at the end of the day. And for those of you that are tuning in, at the end of the day, guys, do us a favor and share this video. I think we're talking about things that are incredibly deep and incredibly valuable. There may be someone sitting down right now in their couch questioning a lot of things. They may need some of these words that are coming. They may need to change the way that they're looking at things. So please, please, please share the video, or maybe even drop us a quick comment so that we can go ahead and interact with you. At the end of the day, one thing that I've seen that's big here is are you living to work? Are you working to live? And what is really living, right? And what you said right now is also what I consider is you're giving, right? You're giving, and you're giving as Josie says there, it's a life motto, right? It gives you, we all have our purpose, but that's just a completely different purpose. So within this ministry, what changes have you seen that have taken place because you made that choice of having the ministry? That story of the kid, do you have any stories of saying, you know what, this is what we've accomplished so far with that ministry?
Well, yeah, we've actually donated, and the beauty about what we do is that this is all God orchestrated. The only time that we actually take a list of names and ages is we do the Three Magic Kings. I felt it was important in my heart to work with kids. I love kids. So the foundation really focuses on children. It's very unfortunate that in our beloved country, we have no resources for Haitian kids. And one of the things that I saw constantly was these were the kids that were on the street. They were brought over from Haiti after the earthquake, and they just got lost in the system. Yeah. So what we have done is we find out through small local churches that they do mission trips. They literally go out there and they look at I wouldn't even have a GPS to get to some other places that I go. I'm legit telling you, like there's no road. So. Yeah. And I'd be happy if somebody is interested in helping. It's a full 501(c)(3) ministry. I'd be happy to send you videos and links so that they can see later these kids' faces. But basically, what I love about what we do is we don't partner up with organizations that the government helps. We literally show you a video of where your money went or whatever backpack you purchased. We've actually donated over 6,000. Actually, no. It's been over 3,500 shoes, which have been donated by Soul for Souls, and over 6,000 backpacks in 4 years. Incredible. And the backpacks are fully loaded with all the school supplies that the kids are going to need, at least for the first 6 months of their, school. Enough paper, Crayola, glue, everything. And we raise money to buy it. And then some of my clients, some of my baseball players, they pay for the sponsorship to ship it. And once we're there, we literally go into these bates and we redo it around the school year. And Freddie, I don't even know how to explain it to you. There's no explanation. Every time we go into these towns, we have exactly the amount of backpacks that we need per kid. And it's almost like we find them walking and we tell them, where are you guys coming from? Or some político is giving out like, yo quiero que tú veas una macotica y un lazo.
Trepa.
Amarrado con un lacito. So in order to get you to vote, they say,
correct,
your útiles escolares. And I go, eso fue lo que a ti te dieron. And they're like, sí. And I'm like, no, busca todos los muchachitos del barrio y vayan para allá. No, we're going to park. And then we have like 3 SUVs because it's a lot of stuff. And then the kids start running and getting other kids. And man, it's just amazing. And then let me tell you what's really cool about that. I mean, that's my biggest thing. The toys, we do partner up with the church because you have to get age appropriate and obviously the sex. But when it comes to the backpack, it's just crazy. We have the same amount of backpacks we need for girls and same amount we need for boys. It's crazy.
You know what? I mean, this is incredibly inspiring. And for all of you guys watching this right now, I'm gonna be fully transparent, right?
Really?
I'm busy. I'm always fully transparent, but I'm always swamped, and G's always working really hard. So we hadn't gone so much into detail about covering this particular part, but I want to make sure that we're leveraging this platform. So when it comes to your ministry, G, do us a favor right after the show's over. Write in the comments, connect the link, right?
Yep.
I'm going to encourage you guys because I can vouch for exactly how she does things. That every dollar donated would be a dollar that would affect the child directly. I can't always speak that way of every 501c that's out there. I don't know exactly what administrative costs they have and all that, but we're talking about someone that I personally know that would be able to directly funnel that to help the life of someone that may not be able to eat that steak the way that we do on Fridays. So please, G, after this, let's go in the comments. Let's share a little bit about that. I myself, the Freddie Bias team, is going to go ahead and also make a donation to make sure that that gets over to your charity or your ministry
Ministry of
that you're
Giving.
moving, Ministry of Giving, and let's make that happen. At the end of the day, it's funny because I'm now thinking God is just saying this is what the episode is supposed to be about, guys. At the end of the day,
Man.
everything else falls into place. With that being said, if you guys have any questions, concerns pertaining to the luxury market, and now you guys get to see a little bit about who she truly is, Giselle is easily reachable at 954-937-0616. Would that also be the best number for you, G, if they
Yeah.
want to go ahead and maybe inquire about the ministry or say,
Yeah.
we want to partner up with you to make some change?
That is correct.
Awesome, awesome. So we are running on that 30-minute ticker. And for me and you, I know we can be here all night. I
Que
think
sí
we
que,
would.
espérate, pero ¿y qué?
¿Qué es lo que estamos hablando? Exactly. But at 9 o'clock we're gonna go live again, and we're gonna go a
What?
little bit
I got a
of
refill.
correct. We got to refill it up for Red Cup Thursday after hours. So I'm going to go ahead and thank absolutely everyone for coming, but I'm going to give you the last word because I think there's things stirring your heart there that you may want to go ahead and say. So I'm going to give you the last word, share with them. And after that, guys, I'm going to close out the show and we're going to see you guys at 9 o'clock for Red Cup Thursdays after hours. So the floor is yours.
Okay, guys, I just want to say these are really weird times in the world and things are going to change. And they don't necessarily have to be for the worse. And I think that in times like this is when we need to reinvent ourselves. And the way to do that, the way to really find out your purpose, everybody is always asking me that. How did you know what you were supposed to do? Because I have a lot of talents, but the kids are my purpose. Is I finally put my gloves down. I stopped thinking about how I was going to figure out how I was going to meet this person or do that. I came to the Father, number one. And then I was quiet. I didn't have noise and I heard him. And I think that this is the season and this is the time that if you feel something in your heart stirring you, telling you, I want to do what this girl's doing, or I want to open up I don't know, some business. It's not there in vain. The more you tap into that, the more you're going to come along with your authentic self, who you were born to be. You were always a soul before you had a flesh that was named whatever name we have. So my only advice before we close out, this is all great. Real estate is great. Mortgages are great. But all this stuff expires. And the penalty, I mean, not the penalty, but the sting in death. And this is why I didn't grieve so much. I mean, it was bad. Don't get me wrong. Kobe Bryant. But I thought people are not noticing that this kid did what he was born to do. And that's the tragedy in death, dying without having exercised your purpose. That's because we're all going to die. But
For sure.
if the cemetery is full of people that had all these purposes and never stepped into it out of fear, then what's the point? So my whole thing is no fear, perfect time to reinvent yourself. Go to the Father first. I'm out.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Fear of faith. God bless you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.